What's up everybody, I just wanted to present you Ryzeal Shark, the build I've been tinkering a bit, and before we hop into the deck list and the combo montage, I just want to go over all the cards that will be released in I think 1.5, a bit less than 2 weeks, right? So today's the 27th of November, and I think Crossover Breaker gets released the 7th, so yeah, a bit more than a week. And for those of you who haven't read a single Ryzeal card, I just want to go over with you over these cards. They're basically just a rank / level 4 spam engine that wants to put out as many monsters as possible and end on a Trident on steroids with a detonator. This card is like absolute bonkers. And you also have a really cool XC that lets you search 2 cards, by the way. So this just feels like if Sprite on steroids and a little watered down version of Zoo had a baby, then it would be called Ryzeal. Let's just get into the deck. So your main names, you play 4 out of the 5 main names because Psalma is well, not really good. Technically you could play it if you like on a budget and play less X's or something, but this is everything you play. Starting off with your main deck names, they all have a special condition to special summon themselves, and if you special summon them by that way, you're locked into rank 4 Xyz monsters. And you have 2 light pyros, so you can play bonfire, and 2 fire thunders, so it's kind of reversed, right, with the light and the pyro and the fire and the thunder. And you have 3 1-card starters that you all play at 3, and 1 extender that's used to end on the second level 4. You have a field spell, a quick play spell, and a trap. Starting off with the best card of the deck, Ice Ryzeal, this plus bonfire, so you basically play 6 copies of Ice, and as soon as you get 7 Tachyon, I think 7 Tachyon should be able to also search Ice Ryzeal, so you're playing 9 copies of this card. This card is the best. The extension, so the special summon, is by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard. This is quite nice if you start with Ice and you have some leftovers on board, like an already used up XC monster, like a Duo Drive for example, and you have another one that you don't need for follow-up. You can just extend by sending the no material Duo Drive and get another Ice. And on normal summon only, this card can special a Ryzeal from deck, doesn't matter which one, anyone except itself. And this is a hard once per turn, so both of these. Then we have X Ryzeal. This is able to special summon itself by sending an XC monster from your exo deck to the graveyard, so there are a lot of options, like Toad for example in the Shark build. You have the Mereologic Aggregator, that's a negate on detach or on just being sent to the graveyard. And if you have only level or rank 4 monsters on your field, you can add a Fire Thunder from your deck to your hand, so this searches Fold and Note. And then we have Fold. Fold is a free special if we have a Ryzeal on our field, on our graveyard, and then it locks us into rank 4s, right? And on normal or special summon, this can add a light pyro, so basically this can add those, and this can add those too. And then we have Note. Note is also kind of a nip extender, because if we have an XC monster on our field or in the graveyard, we can special summon it, and we can send a card from our field or hand to the graveyard and then target a Ryzeal monster in our grave to special summon it back in defense and negate it. So this, again, just like the Ice, guarantees more bodies if you have unused or used up cards on your board. Then this field spell is insane. It makes the game a bit more complicated for new beginners, but this card is one of the best field spells you're probably ever gonna read. So first off, it locks you into not being able to XC summon monsters with the same name as a card we already control. It allows us to target 2 Ryzeal cards in our graveyard, except a copy of itself, and then we can place them on the bottom of the deck and draw a card. So this card also is recursion and allows us to draw into hand traps or extenders. And this card can, on resolution, negate monster effects, a bit like the protection effect of Hugin. So it reads once per turn when an opponent's activated monster effect resolves. So mid-chain link, this does not start a chain if you negate something with cross. You can detach a material from a Ryzeal XT monster you control, and if you do, negate that effect. So basically, as soon as your opponent nips you, while you have, for example, a material on your detonator, you can just look him straight in the eyes, tap your cross, detach a material, and get ready to be punched. Then a Ryzeal plugin. The quick play spell that, so these two are like the targets you want to search with Dual Drive. Plug in says target an XC monster or Ryzeal monster in your graveyard or banishment, special summon it, and then we can attach a Ryzeal card from our deck to a rank 4 XC monster we control. This does not specify Ryzeal, so technically if you have like a Bahamut Shark on board or something, or a Dugaris or whatever, you could, if you find weird ways, refill your Dugaris, for example. And yeah, also we cannot attack for the rest of this turn except with rank 4 XC monsters, which shouldn't be a problem in Ryzeal, right? And the cool part is because you search both, at the end of the combo you can just put this back in deck, and then turn 2 make a new card and search it again. And then Hole Thruster. So Hole Thruster itself is just a pop on field, right? Target face-up card your opponent controls, up to the number of Ryzeal XC monsters you control. Destroy them, then you can attach one Ryzeal card from your graveyard to one rank 4 XT monster you control as material. Pretty nice, replenishing your detonator, popping up to 2 cards most of the time. Not bad, right? But the main thing you want is the graveyard effect, because you can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, XC summon using monsters you control, including a Ryzeal monster. Which basically means you can Zeus, you can Sky Crisis, you could potentially Baguska or Dweller on your opponent's turn with a Thruster. So your usual play is to just keep plugin in hand to potentially play around nip, because if your opponent would nip you, you could just revive, for example, a Duo Drive or a Detonator, and then attach a material, and on rest then just use Cross to negate the nip and attach the Hole Thruster, and if this card then gets attached during your opponent's turn, you can banish it and XC summon. So the first XC monster you're going to search, and the card that will let all of the level 4 engines or decks bridge into the Ryzeal part of their deck, will be the Duo Drive, a generic monster requiring 2+ level 4 monsters, and for each material attached to Duo Drive, monsters we control gain 100 and monsters our opponent control lose 100 attack points. And on summon, Duo Drive can attach a Ryzeal card from grave to itself, which is nice if you already have Cross, right? And you can use X, dump another copy of Duo Drive, and then you make Duo Drive on summon will attach, and then you have something to detach for Cross. And Duo Drive can detach 2 materials from monsters you control, so any monsters, just like Gigantic Sprite. And if we do, we can add 2 Ryzeal cards with different names from our deck to our hand. Yeah, this card is like, if you splash it, you search Cross plus your X, for example, if you have normal summon, or Cross and Ice, and then you have like your full combo, which is insane. Yeah. And because you can attach like from 2 different monsters also, you could technically, if you play the Shark build, make a Bahamut Shark, detach one, bring out a Toad, then you would have to say no to your Ryzeal X search, but the rest would still work if you have good sequencing. And then you can just detach like one from Bahamut, one from itself, and still have a material for your Cross. And of course, the absolute best payoff of this deck is Detonator. So Detonator is not generic, it requires 2+ level 4 Ryzeal monsters. And when your opponent activates a card or a quick effect, we can detach a material from this card and then pop something on the field. The cool part is this is not once per turn. This is totally not once per turn, not even soft once per turn. This is like up to 4 or 5 pops sometimes. Yeah, just think about that for a second. And then also on special summon, not on XC summon, on special summon, this card can attach a monster from graveyard. So if you dump a Mereologic, for example, with the X, then Detonator will be able to attach it to it and get like a 2-for-1 special with 1 detach, a pop and a negate. And also it offers protection, because why wouldn't it? So if an XC monster we control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, we can detach 4 materials from this card instead. Yeah, because why not? And also it's a rank 4 with 3k attack, and if you also have a detonator on board, a dual drive, I'm sorry, with material, then this card can grow even bigger. So yeah, this is all that you play for your Ryzeal engine. Now let's hop right into the Shark engine. There it is. Yeah, it's just 4 cards with different ratios. A Buzzsaw Shark lets you target a water monster you control and special summon a fish from your deck in defense with the same level but a different name. And also it cannot activate its effect this turn. Also we cannot special summon from the extra deck except XE monsters, which in Ryzeal does not matter. So most of the time you're just gonna target Buzzsaw Shark and special out another level 4. A beautiful princess. If this card is now a special summon, we can banish it and special summon a level 4 or lower fish from our deck, except itself. So most of the time you're gonna use this as an extender with 1/1, for example, to get to Buzzsaw or to the surfacing Big Jaw. A Big Jaw on summon can search a shark, and if we've activated a Spark card this turn, we can, during our main phase, special summon Big Jaws. So Big Jaws is, with the right target, a free +2 bodies for another XE monster. And the card you want to search is a Drake Shark, which is nothing but a Poplar. So this effect totally doesn't matter. It's a Shark Drake XE monster that has this effect. Garbage. You don't play those. You don't want to play those. It doesn't matter. You just want the Poplar. So the Big Jaws is an insane plus, right? Opening a beautiful tuna is like 1, 2, 3 plus bodies. Yeah, that's really, really good in this deck, obviously. I have also 3 builds prepared for you. So this is something where I tried I'd call it the Kashtira-like approach, where it's your Ryzeal engine, your Shark engine. I like 2 Buzzsaw, triple Big Jaw because I think Big Jaw is just more solid, but Buzzsaw is also like good. Sometimes I'm tempted to go a bit over 40 because I don't want to see this or this. Opening Drake Shark just means that surfacing Big Jaw gets a lot worse. So yeah, I want to avoid drawing this card. And also what I mean by Kashtira approach is that you have your big, or your one good card that you definitely want to protect at all costs, which would be the Dual Drive, because Dual Drive just can go +2 minimum. So playing cards like lands here, Forbidden Lands. Also I thought about Forbidden Address to protect it from Ghost Over. Or like Cross Out, those are like all really, really good options. I play 1 Nip because as a tech option I like Gallant Granite. It just puts more pressure on your opponent that they have to play around Nip, having to choose potentially worse lines to play around it. And Nip plus any hand trap is most of the time just game ending for your opponent. So yeah, this is the first build. I play double Toad. You could probably see why, because you dump 1 with X, and you also have the potential to make 1 with Bahamut into Toad. And if you sequence it right, you're making Toad before you get locked into your special summons, and the only thing you would have to sacrifice is the X Ryzeal search. But there are combos that don't care about the X search that much, that you'll see later in the combo montage. So yeah, this is like the first build, and you could main deck like a Cross Out and then the targets for it like Ogre and Lorna, so that you get to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15 hand traps plus another 6 cards to protect yourself, so 21 non-engine for the hand trap wars. On top of like more gas and more starters than your normal combos, right? 1/1 is an extender. Big Jaws is a really, really good extender. And in the extra deck I like to play the Stealth Kraken just as another option to get more pops, and also because the Floodgate effect can come up sometimes against certain type of decks. So this is really neat. Fire, for example, right? So they have fun with Fire King, if all your monsters on board become water suddenly, then things like the Princess OTK etc. become a lot harder. So yeah, that's really a nice option, and also stuff like Dweller, Myriologic, Dugaris, so all those good stuff things. Then we have the Ryzeal Shark build. This is another option that does not play like all those return traps. Here we can take a look at the extra deck. So I thought about the Frost Duster package. I also thought about it in Centurion, as you were able to see in the spreadsheet, where you could make like a Cyber Slash Harpy and then just set a Featherstorm with Frost. And it's the same exact scenario, except this time you just make Castel instead. And Castel also isn't like a bad monster, a super bad monster on its own, so you could consider playing Castel. Yeah, it's just nice removal on top of being a winged beast. Alencia for the Malice, right? Against Malice and Shifter decks in general. And then Phantasme, I'm definitely going to throw this card out because it has the most anti-synergy. And Retaliating Sea is really cool because it's a hand trap that generates the body for you. And also stops like the whole Azamina package. And I think that even after crossover breakers, without like a big list that puts cards like Wanted or Bonfire to 1, Snagger, Fire King, Snagger, Azamina, Fire King, etc., they're all still going to be really, really good. So Retaliating Sea is still a card to consider playing. And then if you want to go for like a pure version, this one utilizes Small Ward and Prosperity. Prosperity, you know, conflicts a bit with the Fuel spell, and also if you go for Dugaris. So that's the reason why I want to play other options like Granite that just can guarantee more interaction if you would dig for interaction with Prosperity. And if you would go for Stardust, you just have now more Stardust in your hand trap deck with Small World, right? So potentially 4 more Stardust. And it's pretty easy to bridge, right? This one doesn't work unfortunately, but there are bridges, right? So mana into Veiler into X or Ice, right? That's it. Sorry, I haven't played that much with Small Ward, and Small Ward always, you know, it's quite late, the time of recording, so my brain's kind of mushy. A card that we're still going to get is the 7th Tachyon. So we can reveal a number XC monster between 101 and 17, and we can add a monster with the same type and or attribute as the real monster and a level equal to its rank from your deck. So basically what you want to search is for 101 there would be Silent Honor Arc, which could potentially search your shark stuff. Then I think it was 102 that would be able to search Alencia, and I don't know if the other numbers, right, and also Masquerade and the Star Seraph can search out your Ice Ryzeal because both are light. The 7th Tachyon will be another big boost for the deck. Just more consistency, right? It's more reliable than, for example, Small Ward or Prosperity, because you have to have certain cards that have a Small Ward, and Prosperity actually has to hit for it to be a starter. So yeah, just keep this card in mind, because this will be another huge boost. I could imagine a world where Ryzeal is actually inferior to Malice until we get 7th Tachyon, because Ryzeal is not a shifter deck and Malice is a shifter deck, and shifter just auto wins against the 3 best Snagger variants. So until then I do see a world where Ryzeal is cheaper than Malice, so I would pick up my Ryzeal core before 7th Tachyon drops, because after that it's Jover for the prices. Anyways, I've been yapping for already like 20 minutes or something, so I'll just send you over to the short combo montage. And see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment if I've forgotten anything, or if you also have a few options for the build, or just your opinions on crossover breakers in general. And then I hope to see you soon in the next video. Until then, stay safe and